Hey everyone, welcome back, or welcome, probably welcome. Here I'm reading outside my comfort zone, and also I'm trying to convince you to read outside your comfort zone. I read this book and that book. Which one did I like better? And was it actually worth it? So I came across an article that says reading outside your comfort zone will allow you to learn these things and become a better person, and a whole list of things. It's February, so I figured, well, reading a romance is outside my comfort zone, so let's try it. And stay tuned to the end of the video to see how true all that stuff really is. I mean, I was kind of like, okay, stop. Like this is awkward. I'm just reading a story and it's awkward. Starting to realize that living 200 yards away from a runway of a major international airport sucks for filming. Well, Simple Wild. I mean, I'm almost done. Got maybe a quarter of it left. I'm on page 265, which is chapter 19, and there's 385 pages. So plus minus 100 pages. Oh man, I read the craziest 2 chapters right there. And just when I thought that there's like no romance in this, like this is just, I mean, it doesn't even say romance on the book. It says fiction. But I mean, I'm, 3/4 of the way through, and I'm kind of getting into the romance right now. This is a story that has a lot of kind of family drama. It's a story that is kind of, no, it's not kind of, it's exactly a enemies to lovers. Yeah, so the main character, Calla, is kind of falling for Jonah, the other guy. And even like the people around her, like the 2 chapters that I've just been getting into is like, he's been really into her, but he's been mean to her to try to like hide it, and just to kind of play like the bad boy type guy, right? That kind of personality. And now it's like starting to come out, right? It's all starting to come out. He's kind of, just getting a more lovey-dovey with her, right? A little closer. And at the same time, though, it's kind of cringe. It's kind of cringe. Like, the last part of that chapter that I read, he was like, no spoilers, but she just did something to him where it's like, even me, like, I think I'm a nice guy. If somebody did this to me, I'd be mad. I'd be so mad. Anyways, she did it to him. The next time that she saw him, she thought he was going to be mad, right? But he wasn't mad. Okay, cool. You kind of got a crush on her, and she did something to you, and you kind of find it to be a little kind of funny. All the people around them were kind of like, it's not that bad, So maybe there's some influence there of like, okay, maybe it's not that bad. Yeah, those 2 chapters were awkward. Were kind of cringe, especially coming from him. And it was so sudden, like, I don't know, to me it was sudden. I didn't feel like it was eased into it, but I don't know, we're getting the last quarter, and I feel like a lot of the romance stuff is happening. And if I'm already cringing, I'm in for a treat for 120 pages, whatever it is. So, let's see how that goes. Okay, things are getting serious.
A few moments later.
What is goose flesh? Oh, I know what goose flesh is. But who calls it goose flesh? I'm Canadian. K.A. Tucker is Canadian. We don't call it goose flesh here. We call it goosebumps. Goose flesh? It just sounds weird. Comment down below what you use and where you're from. Goose flesh or goosebumps? It's so weird. Oh, Calla. I mean, clearly, she did one of those things where it's like, you're thinking, no, don't do it. But then you just say, yeah, sure, let's go for it. And she even noticed it too, of like, what am I doing? That's actually funny. That's actually funny. So they flew into the wild to pick up these hikers and read, like, I'm going to read this. This is funny. Calla says, how long have these hikers been in here anyways? We dropped them off 8 days ago. 8 days? I tried to imagine what that means. That's 8 days of struggling, camping gear up and down the mountains. 8 days wandering around the wilderness with bears, sleeping in a tent with bears, searching for food with bears. 8 days without a toilet or a warm shower with bears. Like that's me, but with spiders, you know?
A few moments later.
I know exactly what's going to happen. Like you don't mention that in a book and then not follow through with it, you know? I'd bet you $10 that Calla and Jonah broke up. She probably moved next door to stay with him instead of her dad. But then her dad goes in for treatment. Agnes goes with him, and Agnes and Ren get together. And so that's Jonah, Calla, and Ren and Agnes. Then probably the end of the book is going to say that Calla stays in Alaska because she wants to stay with Jonah and her dad. I bet you $10 that's what happens, huh? Yeah. I need to get a snack. All right, we're back, and I don't know. I can't put it down. Like it's good, but it's simple. Get it? I knew it. I freaking knew it. Okay there, 50 Shades of Grey. Holy. What? Okay, not because anything crazy happened. Did I not just talk about Goosebumps? Like a little bit ago? And she said goose flesh, but now look at, wait, where is it? Goosebumps. Why did you say goose flesh in the first one? And goosebumps in the next one. Or is Goose... It's gotta be something else.
A few moments later.
She said goose flesh again. Goose flesh springs over my skin instantly. So goose flesh twice and goosebumps once. It's got to be something. Let me Google this. Let me Google this. What is goose flesh? Goose flesh is a skin reaction to cold or fear that causes the hairs to stand up. Oh, goosebumps is when your skin gets the bumpy, and goose flesh is like just when your hairs stand up. Guess it is two different things. Look at that. Learn something new every day and every book. It's the next day. I was pretty tired last night. I read pretty late. We need to finish this. I read a chapter or two just now off camera. Yeah, I'm just gonna pound it out because this, you know, slightly boring book. You know, not a lot happened until like the last quarter. It's getting good. It's getting into like the books that I know and love, you know, that kind of style. The one that really ties up a story well, you know, plays with your emotions, catches you off guard, all that stuff that I love about books. It's happening in that much left, you know. Let's continue. Oh, I knew it. It's so predictable. Remember I made that prediction? Some of it just happened. I didn't even make a coffee. Okay, third outfit for the day. I had a little accident. After I made that coffee, I ended up making food as well. And I was watching videos just on YouTube, having my brunch, and I spilled coffee. I just spilled coffee over myself. And then as I was, you know, kind of doing this, like, kind of in shock that I just spilled coffee, I got even more clumsy. And as I kind of rushed to clean up a little bit. I then dropped my food. So I I had to do the laundry. My laundry is right there behind that shelf. So I couldn't film while the laundry was going. You would just hear it. Laundry's done, but I finished the book. Decent read. It, like I said earlier, you know, it took 2 quarters. You know, the first 2 quarters was a lot of fluff. It really was a lot of fluff. A lot of, you know, really just character work and the main character, Calla, trying to get used to the wild and that different lifestyle from a, you know, a city girl moving to the wilderness in Alaska, right? And of course, it's that kind of love-hate relationship with Jonah, right? Enemies to lovers. Yeah, a lot, you know, there were just chapters in here that were, you know, just them going grocery shopping and her be like, "What? You don't have soy milk?" And it's like a whole chapter of the drama of trying to find soy milk. Little things like that, right? So it's just, it was a story to read. But I will say the last quarter, like, you know, the last kind of 100 pages or so was very good. You know, no spoilers, but it was very well concluded between Calla's father, Calla, and Jonah, and how things really tied together. I feel like it was, you know, all the loose ends were tied nicely, especially between Calla and her father. Yeah, everything you want to see with like a little bit of a family drama story. You know, kind of happy endings. But, well, I shouldn't say happy endings. The best outcome for the situation. And again, the ending continuously twisted. The prediction that I said earlier, none of that happened except for kind of one thing. Triple seven 300 ER. It's pretty light. It's not at high power. It's probably going to Toronto. Sorry. Pilot geeking out about airplanes. And yeah, really good ending. But I really just can't get over the first 3 quarters of this book. You know, like there was a lot of it of trying to convince myself not to skip. Not gonna lie, I found myself skim reading a little bit. So for that reason, I'm out. I'm just kidding. But for that reason, it's I'm giving it 3 stars because it was a good story. It was a good book. Characters were relatively believable and relatively likable. Even Jonah, he's supposed to be like, you know, the bad guy, so to speak, the guy that you're supposed to hate. But I never really hated him. It was just kind of like, yeah, that's just their personality. I've lived in these kind of, I should say lived, I temporarily lived for a couple weeks in these remote locations and bush flying as well, and seeing that environment. Oh yeah. That's another 777-300ER.
A few moments later.
Yeah, I mean, so I lived in these remote places, and you know, the kind of bush flying aspect and all of that's kind of true. But as a pilot, a lot of the flying talk or the plane talk was wrong. It was wrong or unrealistic or just not believable. I mean, maybe it's believable for somebody who doesn't know anything about airplanes. But to me, I don't know, that was a drawback too. So a lot of fluff and the drawback of the plane talk being mostly wrong. So 3 stars, but incredible ending. And I'm a sucker for good endings in a book. Good book, 3 stars. Let's chat about this video. Reading outside your comfort zone. I read 2 romances and and kind of enjoyed them, you know? Different style, all the different pros and tropes. Sure, the Simple Wild was more predictable. I was able to kind of see where the story was going and more or less what's going to happen. It's a very simple story, but it, you know, it was enjoyable. 3 stars is not bad. And the one with Water Moon, it's not in this video, but I made a whole video based on Water Moon. You can check it out here. And that one was pretty cool because it's a little more up my alley. It's kind of like a romantasy. Really cool. Really, really cool. I didn't expect a lot in that book as well. There was, you know, more fantasy than there was romance. So I'm happy I read that one first because it kind of eased me into that genre. And of course, kind of prepared me a little bit better for The Simple Wild, if I'm completely honest. Had I read The Simple Wild first, I don't think I would have the same outcome. Either I would have not liked the book that much, or honestly maybe DNF'd it just because there was so much fluff. But I ended up kind of liking it. So am I going to read these more often? More often? No. Will I read them every February? Yeah, probably. Just because that's the mood, right? That's the mood. That's the vibes of it being Valentine's Day. And of course, you know, February, that season. So I'm happy I did this. I hope you guys can do this too. And I'm going to do it more often, right? I haven't read any classics, so I want to get into classics. That's going to be outside my comfort zone as well, with different literature, you know, things that were written in the early 1900s, maybe late 1800s. You know, it might be a tough read because, you know, they wrote different and spoke different back then. Let's face it, these classics are 800 to 1200 pages long, right? So I'll definitely be reading outside my comfort zone more, but I'm happy I did it during February. Let me know what you're going to do to read outside your comfort zone, because let me tell you, it's worth it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.